What's going on, people? Sam here from the championship rounds, and I needed to do this video about Diaz's beef with the UFC. Diaz wants to either be released or get a fight in either July or August because he's got bigger shit to do. And by bigger shit, he means going to have a fight with Jake Paul in a boxing ring. Now, Nate's wanted a fight for ages. Even a few months ago, he's been asking the UFC for a fight. He even went to the UFC PI and pissed on the wall to make a statement of like how annoyed he is with the UFC not giving him a fight. Contractually, UFC have to offer fighters fights within a certain amount of months. I'm not exactly sure. I think each contract may be slightly different. And I think they've offered him in the past Hamzat quite a lot, and Diaz hasn't really wanted to fight him. So it's just sort of rolled on the contract. But now I've got a feeling that Nate literally just wants to fight anyone. So if Dana wants, he should feed into Hamzat. And in an interview with a Mac Live with, I can't remember his name now from the Mac Live, he does the pub to Oscar. He did an interview with Dana, and Dana actually said, yeah, he should probably go and have a fight with Jake Paul in a boxing ring. So if Dana's happy for him to go, send him Hamzat, let him have the fight, and then let him get out of there and fight Jake Paul. Now, a lot of the analysts have been saying that Dana wanted him to keep him in the contract because they wanted the last fight to be the trilogy with Conor McGregor. The second fight between Conor McGregor and Diaz was the highest pay-per-view at that time for the UFC, just under UFC 200 from memory, but it was literally definitely in the top 2 or 3 pay-per-views, and they know that's going to do numbers every time, one each, and they want to get the trilogy. But the thing is, Conor's nowhere near ready to fight at the moment, and we don't know if he even wants to fight Diaz when he comes back. Maybe he wants to fight someone at 155 because we know Diaz is only going to be really fighting at 170. Now, ever since Dana put that interview out, Diaz tweeted for the UFC to send in the release papers, like let him be released if Dana's agreeing for him to let him go. But we know Dana's going to make him fight that last fight and put on one of his stars to put them over Diaz, which most likely is going to be Hamzat in that welterweight division. Now, Dana White has said that Nate's had 1 win in the last 5 years, which is factually correct. So so 5 years ago, he fought Conor McGregor number 2. So he beat Conor, I think it was in March, and then in August fought him again for the second time. And then obviously he lost that. Now with that loss, his stock went up so much because it was like 3 rounds to 2. It was a dog fight. It was one of the best fights I've ever seen. And you know, he got Conor down at the end and just didn't have enough time to work. But I would say, yeah, definitely Conor won that 3-2. Now after that, he came back and he beat Pettis. He literally put the pressure on Pettis and you know, beat him badly in that. I think it was the second to third round. I thought that Pettis was going to quit at some point, but fair play, went to a decision. Now after that, he called out Masvidal for the BMF title, and to be fair, that was a bad loss. Some of the Diaz fans who are ultimate Diaz fans will say that he was kind of getting back into it in the 4th and 5th, but if I'm totally honest with myself, as the biggest Nate Diaz fan, he was not really getting back into that. I've never seen him he looked really hurt, and even though the doctor stopped it and Nate had his thumbs up to say, I want to continue, and like Diaz will never give up, but I think that would have been a Masvidal, not sure finish, but beating towards decision, because we know Nate doesn't give up. And after that, the Leon Edwards fight. Now, even that was a loss, a lot of people, all they talked about was when Nate rocked him at the end. And Nate's actually just dropped a tweet about 6 hours ago saying that he's never really lost like these. Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on there, but these effers. And it's a video of him, you know, rocking Leon in the last minute. And even though that was a loss, people could say Nate took that moral victory. You know, he was close to finishing Leon in that last minute and a half. And he should have really jumped on him and he maybe could have got the finish. But I can see where Nate's coming from, saying he's never really lost like a lot of these people have lost as in recent times. He put up a video of Hooker finishing Burns, of Gaethje getting finished by Oliveira, Chandler getting finished by Oliveira, Masvidal getting finished by Usman, Conor getting finished by Poirier getting finished by Michael Johnson, and then finally put the tap when he tapped out Conor. Nate's, you know, hard to put away, and he ain't, you know, no one's, in my opinion, the day that someone puts Nate Diaz away, he needs to walk away because his durability has made him what he is. We know he has had been put up, like TKO'd by Josh Thompson with a head kick and ground and pound years ago. But, you know, how long's he been in UFC, only been finished once, is crazy. We know, everyone knows how tough he is. So I feel like Dana just needs to throw him to Hamzat, let him get the fight, and then he can move on and fight Jake Paul and make his money there. I actually don't like the Jake Paul fight for him because Jake Paul's a bigger guy, and even though Nate Diaz's boxing is very respected also by boxers like Andre Ward, Amir Khan, have always said good things about his boxing, but I feel like Jake Paul's going to catch him in the first few rounds when Nate's a slow starter. He's going to cut him and the doctor's going to wave off for a cut. The UFC guys kind of know that even if Diaz bleeds, let him go, let him carry on. If they're in Vegas, that New York in Madison Square Garden against George Masvidal, I feel like if that was in Vegas, they would have let him go on. But I feel like Jake Paul's going to say to the ref, if he's struggling and Diaz is bleeding, call it off. So I feel like that might happen. What I would have loved for Diaz, if it was going back when he fought Michael Johnson, Conor McGregor won, is to him at 155 versus Oliveira. I don't believe Oliveira could tap Diaz. Diaz has only been tapped once in his career, and people just don't want anything with his ground game. So I feel like he couldn't tap Diaz, and I feel like it would, if Diaz put the pressure on Oliveira, he could actually win that fight. I bet everyone will probably disagree with me on this, but I feel like going back, that would have been the fight to make. Now, I feel like he's a bit getting to that, you know, he's like almost 38 now, I think, 37, 38. But you never can count Diaz out of a fight. Imagine if he catches Hamzat in a submission, beats Hamzat, big FU to Dana, and then goes away and fights Jake Paul. So, I don't know, I just got on a massive rambling speech about this. But, you know, it's going to be interesting. And I think that the pressure's on Dana. He has to give him a fight. So, hopefully, we see Diaz fight in July or August. I can't wait.